So I was living in Dominican Republic for 5 months. I left there about a month ago, and I've been I'm here in Medellin, Colombia. Been here for a month now. It's pretty cool. I have not made a video in forever, but I just wanted to talk about my stay in Dominican Republic. I definitely loved it there. One of the reasons probably the main reason I left though, was because I broke up with the girl that I was dating there, my ex-girlfriend, and I kind of felt like I needed to move to like completely get away from her, which I feel like was definitely the right thing to do. Because the thing was, I kind of decided that we had started dating, or not started dating, but we had the intention, we tried to have a very serious relationship, and I decided that I did not want to do that with her. I'm not even sure if I want to do that at all now, but it was kind of like our connection though was so strong, and we lived near each other. It's like if I stayed there, we were never going to stop seeing each other. Like, we kind of would have kept seeing each other, and I had already started dating other girls, and it would have been bad for the both of us, probably especially bad for her though, because she didn't really want that. And at least for me, I felt like the relationship was just getting kind of toxic, and I think it was definitely the right move to just get away from her and come over here. We talked about her coming and visiting here too. I was actually gonna fly her out here. She could stay for like a week or two, but I don't know, she didn't want to do that, at least right away. And I think it was probably best that she didn't do that either. I think if we do hang out again, I think it should be farther into the future, to where we can get rid of our like kind of resentment towards each other, and we can make a decision that is more based on more of an intellectual decision rather than just an emotional decision, because it was still recent. We're still very emotionally attached to each other. But let me just talk about Dominican Republic more. That place is really cool. I stayed, if you can watch it, but you can see a bunch of the city if you watch my older videos on the channel too. Like, all those videos is me just walking around the city. There's like 3 different parts of the city where I did it that you can watch. Stuff I love about the city, I like the people there are awesome. They're like, Dominicans in general are like super loud. Forgot to take my sunglasses off. Dominicans in general are just like super loud and outgoing. It's like the most outgoing people you ever see. It's sort of like when you go into like a hood in the US, a lot of the people in general in the hood, like I lived in Oakland, California before, the people that like grew up there, lived there their whole life, a lot of them are like very outgoing. They talk to everyone, they're friends with everyone. They can be loud. They have like zero shyness or like social anxiety at all, which is really cool. And the Spanish there is crazy that they speak. It's like very distinct. They speak really, really fast. They like cut a lot of the letters, or a lot of the words, so they're shorter. They replace certain letters with different letters. They don't say a lot of letters, which when you're a foreigner, it can be kind of difficult because a lot of the people are very hard to understand. Like, moving from Dominican Republic to Medellin, just doing that, I feel like my Spanish has like went up like 2 out of 10 points just from doing that. Like, the people here are way easier to understand. They speak more clearly in general. They pronounce sort of every letter. Whereas in Dominican Republic, they'd speak crazy. They use a lot of slang there. But they have my favorite accent there. I love the Spanish there, but it's very, very difficult to understand, which kind of sucks when you're someone like me who is just learning the language. Another thing I love there, it's another thing I just love about the people, was the dating there was, if you're a white person going there, they are going to love you. Like, you are going to get 3 extra points out of 10 in the dating market. Like, it's pretty insane. I dated dated a couple different models there. They when you're white there, they like a European type of look like me, they just love you. Like in the US, I just look like a normal person. I look like everyone else. There, I'm like super exotic looking. Like I was able to use Tinder and date like quite a bit of pretty girls there, which is awesome. One thing I gotta say about Medellin, which like I love the city, the climate here is perfect. Dominican Republic was too fucking hot, like it's in the Caribbean. And the city where I was staying, like if you're staying, you know, on a beach, or if you have like an apartment that has a pool, it'd be a lot better. If you're running the air conditioning all day. But I wasn't doing any of that. And in Santo Domingo, it's just the city, the beaches aren't on that city. It actually makes the city sort of cool because it's not a tourist city. There's like no tourists there, which is cool, which I think is part of the reasons why the dating is good there. They're not used to like having gringos there. They're just like European or white looking people. There's not a lot of tourists in that city. The tourists that go to that country are going to the beach. They're going to like Punta Cana, which is where most of them are going. Punta Cana is just filled with resorts. Like there's no culture there. There's like nothing. It's just a bunch of tourists pretty much. From what I've heard anyway, I haven't been there. I didn't really have a desire to go there because I figured it'd be just like going to Cancun or Miami or really any other place in the Caribbean. And what was I saying? Oh yeah, it's too hot there. So the climate here is like perfect in Medellin. It's like kind of 80 degrees every day, and at night it gets down to like 60-65 Fahrenheit. Hola perro. So you don't need air conditioning. Like it's just super nice and comfortable here. The city is beautiful. This area right here, it's kind of like a park, but it's just these big tower apartment buildings, and then in the middle of it there's this like really pretty park, and right over there's a bunch of like little restaurants and cafes with seats outside. The city is really beautiful. Like when you look at it, it's a valley and it's surrounded by mountains. You can just see mountains on any side, and then like buildings will go up the mountains, like houses and stuff, and but then when you're in the city, there's nature and there's just a lot of trees all over. Which one thing about Santo Domingo, that was something that kind of bothered me, was there's just not a lot of natures and trees there. You'll see I have those one videos in the park there, but that's just like the big park. And I wanted to get an apartment that was near the park. I had an Airbnb at first, but I was looking for an apartment, but the places near the park are expensive. And then if you want to get like a pre-furnished apartment, you either have to get like a really expensive one, maybe in that area, but if you want something cheaper, all the pre-furnished stuff is more like over in the tourist area or in zona that's called Gasque, which is right next to the tourist area. But anyway, yeah, the weather here is amazing. The city is amazing. The Spanish is easier to understand. They have really good public transportation in the city, which is cool. But the one thing so far, I've only been here for a month, but the one thing that I don't like about here, and I wouldn't recommend people coming here for this, for me, the dating has been horrible. At least on the dating apps. I think what I need to do is actually go out, try to meet girls out on the street in person. I used to do that a lot when I was younger. I think if you want to do that, if you want to meet girls out in bars and stuff, this city would be very good for you. But if you're trying to use dating apps, or even trying to use like Instagram, I think you're going to be very disappointed. For me so far, it has been horrible for that. I don't know what it is. I heard another YouTuber say this a long time ago, but he was saying for some reason in Colombia, like the girls just seem really flaky, and that's been my experience here so far. It's been crazy how flaky they are. So I finally had a date scheduled with a girl yesterday. Been here for over a month. Haven't gotten a single date yet. I've gotten like a few video calls. I always like to do a video call before I do a date. I got a video call with the girl the night before. I wanted to bring her to this place right here. You can kind of get a better look at like the cafes and stuff over there. It's like perfect for a date. You can meet, walk around. You don't even have to get like food at first. There's cafes and like a taqueria that looked really good. So there's like, you can get food, coffee, tea, whatever, juice. Perfect for a date. And as you can see, I'm gonna walk over here. There's this really cool fountain. But anyway, I talked about this place with her, and I just mentioned, I was like, oh, there's this really cool place like near where I live we can go to. On the video chat, she seemed fine with it. Then the next day, I texted her. I was about to show her, like text her on Google Maps this place. She texted me her own like a place that she wanted to go to, a suggestion, this cafe that was very, very far away from my place. And I was like, well, no, how about here? And she got all fucking weird. She seemed totally normal the night before. She got like pissed off. And then she called me a princess. She was like, oh, you want me to come to you and then you be the princess, and got all weird and mad over it. And I was like, what the hell? Like, first of all, she didn't even know like how close the place was to my apartment or anything. It is very close, but like she didn't know that. I just mentioned the night before that the place is like near me. And another thing, it's like if I'm gonna pay for your Uber and pay for the food and like plan everything out, aren't you the one being the princess? Like, that doesn't make any sense. Like, if girls, if you want to get treated as the princess, like, you gotta let the man be the man, and the man is the one who leads. The man is the one. If the man is gonna pay for everything, he should be able to have the final word on, you know, where the spot is and what the spot is. It shouldn't make any difference if it's like near where I live. That was really weird. I had a few other video calls with girls too. I had another video call with a girl that I liked on the video call. To me, it seemed good. We were both smiling a lot. It seemed like there was good chemistry. And then trying to text her, set up a date, she just completely like flaked. I asked her when she was free. She told me she was pretty much free almost always. So I'm like, oh cool, maybe we can go out this weekend. She's like, yeah, sounds good. I'm like, how about tomorrow? Tomorrow was Friday. Never texted me back. Texted her again just to try for the fuck of it. Sometimes you gotta be persistent, you never know. And she was like, oh no, I won't be able to make it, sorry. What? Which normally, if you get a video call, in my experience, if I get a video call with a girl and the vibe is good, it's like very unlikely that they're gonna flake. They usually want to go out. Anyway, look at this place here. It's really cool. This is, I guess it's not a sort of a fountain or something. I'll show you a better view of the sculpture in a minute. I'll give you a 360-degree view. This place is really cool. This sculpture in the middle of the fountain is so cool looking. The place that this other girl suggested for a date was not nearly this cool. Like, this place is awesome. Let me just adjust this. Let me just try to get a better view. It's like a man on the top there, and his body's like stretched out. You can see his penis hanging out there. I don't know if you can see it on the video. The contrast is pretty bad. I'll show you from the other angle in a second. But this has just been my experience. Using the app, like if you want to come to Medellin for dating, do not do it. Like, I think the girls there's a lot of tourists that come here. I think the girls are too used to seeing like European looking people like me in the dating app, so I'm not special here. One thing too, when like when you go on Tinder here, it is like 90% hookers. I'm not exaggerating. You can set your Tinder to Medellin. It is like 90% hookers. But you won't really know that until you actually get texting them a lot. Let me show you the other side of the statue. So Tinder is pretty much like non-usable here. I had to put in all capitals on both my profiles. I found out that like Bumble has been a lot better. Both my Tinder and my Bumble profiles, I put in all capitals, like, I'm not looking for prostitutes. I'm not looking for, they call it dama de compañía, but which just basically translates to like woman of company. When they just, it's just another like nicer term for a prostitute, basically. This one girl, I asked her for what her job was, and I already had in all caps in my profile, not looking for prostitutes. She told me she was that, a dama de compañía. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, did you read my profile? And that was on Bumble. Bumble has less prostitutes, but there's still a ton of them on there. And I know a lot of tourists come here to like get prostitutes, but if you want to do that, I wouldn't recommend coming here either, because this place is famous for a lot of the girls, they like drug and rob the tourists, and it's more likely to happen to you if you're buying a prostitute. Of course, it's probably most of the times when it does happen is from dudes who come here and buy prostitutes. They use this drug called scopolamine. So that's the thing that I've hated about here so far, but I have my Airbnb reserved for 3 months. By the way, the Airbnb I got here is amazing. I'll do another video where I show that. I pay like $530 a month or something like that. And it's the nicest apartment I've ever had. It's the cheapest apartment I've ever had and the nicest apartment I've ever had at the same time. There's another thing I love about this city, like it's super cheap. For under $10, you can get like a good meal at a sit-down restaurant with like a fresh fruit juice for like $10, even under $10 for like $9. It's another thing I love about this place. But the only thing I don't like about here is the dating. It's been horrible for me so far. But I still have 2 more months here. You know, the thing is all it takes is like one really cool girl that I like to make the stay good. I'm sure I will get a date eventually, and actually I do want to go out and try to meet girls in person too, which I think that would be a lot better. Here's a turtle. That reminds me of Dominican Republic, right? I'm trying to get my 3 turtles. There's 2 others over there under the blue sign. The view's like really fish out. Oh, there we go. There's the turtle right there. And there's 2 more right there. Dominican Republic, like anywhere you go where there's any type of little pool of water, there'd always be turtles in it swimming around. Yeah, probably my older videos on the channel, the majority of them were more about making money type of stuff. I'm probably going to be focusing more on dating type of topics in my videos that are upcoming, because that's kind of what I've been focusing on in my life more now, and what I still am. But the other YouTube channel, my business that I've started, has been going very well so far. It's a slow type of business model to start, but I'll talk about that in my future videos too.